St Helens make their way. Tough job I should say, at hand tonight for the Saints. They've been much improved by coach Sean McRae to become one of the leading teams in England. Past couple of years they've dominated Wembley and the famous Challenge Cup, just like Wigan used to. Bobby Goulding, the man that really will try and show the way for St Helens. And Pickavans comes in late into the lineup. And a lineup that does have some changes. Natalia, man to watch.
Paul Newlove also, if he hits a bit of form, an experienced player. Quite surprised to see him out here because he doesn't like flying. Long way to come.
And plenty of new haircuts on tour. Bit of a gamble or a dare that was taken in Australia by most of the St Helens players, led by Bobby Goulding apparently.
I think they've probably gone to the same hairdresser you use over in Sydney. Except theirs got to look a little better than yours, I think.
I don't think we'll get into the hair business then. Good clash, Jones and Goulding. Warriors fans looking for a lot more tries again tonight at Ericsson. Ridge is back. And the Warriors are also buoyed by the fact that Stephen Kearney has signed for another 3 years. Looking to continue the try rampage. One wonders if we're looking at a side, $1 million outfit for the World Club Challenge, that is, at stake in the final. And Bridge back into the fullback position and captain. Hoppy, Shane Endicott comes in for the injured Tia Rapati, Anthony Swan, Lee Odenryan, Namu and Jones outstanding in recent weeks. Betts, Kearney, Swan at the back. Swan and Betts may interchange in the second row and lock. Baganar, Eru, Brady Balaam up front. And a bench of Ellis, Hanare, Horo, Goodenbeal, the coach Frank Endicott. Changes for St Helens: Prescott at fullback, Arnold, Newlove, Hunt, Sullivan, Long and Goulding, the halves. And the forwards of Hammond, Matautia, Pickavans, Leatham, Cunningham, O'Neill. A bench that doesn't have as many bullets to fire for their coach, though, Sean McRae. Man in charge of this one, Mr. Stephen Clark. And the Warriors put it downfield through Ridge.
9, 8, 7,
rare sight to have him back, but a great one.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Shoulder problems earlier in the year for Ridge. Now a calf muscle. Looking forward to try and finish off his 80 minutes. Fumble right from the start. Down on the 10. Wagner look for support. Opening seconds, they might grab a try. Wide they go. And plenty of support. What a beginning. They get it back, and Hoppy to finish in the corner. The Warriors to a flyer. St Helens. Much travel. But they have been rocked from the start.
Well, on the Gatorade replay, we can see here a side with confidence. They forced that error. The ball was popping around a little, but in the end, Hoppy, he was the man who scored the absolute ripper start.
35 seconds only. Great handling in the end. Swan dragged it back. Nothing wrong with it. And the Saints have to watch Hoppy go over in the corner. You want to talk about jet lag now.
There's nothing to do with jet lag. That's to do with confidence from one side and pressure also. Great start from the Warriors. Very, very disappointing for St Helens.
Rebel Sport profile Hoppy has had a terrific year. Just 26 years of age. Sensational finisher. 19 from 23 for Ridge. 83% from right out wide. This will be a great comeback. Just wide. 4-0 the Warriors. Now what a fumble from the start.
It was a big fumble. What a hit. Great front on tackle there from Steve Kearney, as we see on the Gatorade replay. I doubt if Sean McRae, the St Helens coach, would have even been in his seat when this try was scored. That's the sort of thing that does break the coach's heart.
Well, Huey McGann, we had some light showers just before the kickoff, so there might be some fumbles tonight.
Well, I hope that we don't see that tonight, because we're in for a good game. It was a good start from the Warriors. We just need to make sure that the St Helens get over the advantage line early, put the pressure back on the Warriors, because with that fumble that we saw early in the game, the Warriors just came out firing. Everyone came at 100 miles an hour ready to take that ball. Well, it's much more of that to see tonight.
Pickavance hangs on to it this time. Goulding. Nice kick from Goulding. Just wonder, not a bad tactic this, Lowy, on early tackles as well. Just wondered why Bradford, the English teams, didn't try and slow the pace of the game down by going towards the sideline more last weekend. Yeah, well, I think the tactics of the Bradford side left a bit to be desired. I think it's worthwhile kicking early in tackles if necessary, just to give you the field position. Bobby Goulding has got a good kicking game. And talking about Bobby Goulding, one of the things he has to probably watch tonight is his discipline. They can't afford to give away penalties. Well, just as you speak, the back's caught offside. And the Warriors will go down just short of their own 50. As I said, Bobby Goulding, a key player to the St Helens side, a tremendous little player, but inclined sometimes to give a few penalties away. Big difference in the stats. Warriors have scored 182 points in the challenge to St Helens 64. Warriors have conceded 72. St Helens 168. Kearney taken, wrapped up. A lot of responsibility on Maturtia, because he's got to be the enforcer. This is what he's got to come up with. Jones. Back on the inside they go. Change of direction for Endicott. Nearly got in behind the line. And yet again, Warriors keen to get on with it and just pile on the points. They think better. And Ridge will have a look at two from right in front. A couple of quick penalties for the Warriors. Well, very similar to a lot of mistakes that they made against Cronulla. The Gatorade replay shows here good strong running, but all those players up around the ball area lazy, really, not getting back to the 10-metre line as they should be. They're just giving silly points away there, and really they've got to work on that straight away before this game does get away from them, particularly with a sharpshooter like Reggie. Rebel Sport profile, 28 years of age. One of the best in the business. And he does just that. Right down the middle. And Ridge helps the Warriors push it out to 6-0. 6-0, the Warriors leading St Helens. Goulding thinking about those two quick penalties. They should have been down the other end. Ridge with the restart. Back they come again, this time to make sure of that ball through Steve Prescott. Gets away from one. And again from Hopping. Nearly ends up out over the sideline. That was a very good run. Time of possession there already. The Warriors with great advantage there. Something the Saints will be working on. Logan Swan trying, I think, to pop that ball out. Natalia. Territorial advantage, a huge one as well. So the Saints up against it as they cough it up again. Kearney says thanks very much, and inside the 30. Stacey Jones ducked under a high tackle. Chance out wide. Ridge to go back infield. Balls are straight. Brady Malin picks it up just outside the 20. The Saints just offering it up to the Warriors. Shideru. Deep to the right. Betts. Jones. Brilliant hands. Great pick up by Namu. To the in goal. Who wants it? It'll be too strong. A little bit too much weight. They were always going to win the race.
Really, St Helens their own worst enemy at this stage, giving away possession when really they should be concentrating a little more, gaining better field position. Gatorade replay shows just a little bit too much weight behind that kick, but at least now the St Helens have got possession. It's up to them to get down the other end of the park and mount their own pressure.
See if they can hang on to it for 6. Pick advance. Big hit from Joe Vangano. First time they go wide. New Love. Plenty of wraps on Paul Newlove. Goulding again looking for that sideline. And again they will try and slow it down to take the scrum.
Yeah, well, I think that's good tactics from Bobby Goulding. He knows what's required. He's urging his team up there. Sean McRae, he'll have plenty on his mind at the moment. Very disappointed with their start, I'm sure. But you can't write this side off yet.
Spent all his early career assistant to Tim Sheens at Canberra.
And did a great job.
And spent a lot of time with the Kangaroos, the Australians on tours. The penalties just keep on flowing. Real punishment. They just keep coming down here, then back to their own territory. Weren't even in line either when Eru took the restart. Vangana took that from a standing start. Short side for Anthony Swan. Extra quick play of the ball. Difference in the sharpness from both sides. Jones stepping brilliantly. Great tackle by Goulding to shut him down. Betts allowed to drift across the paddock down to the last tackle. Namu normally goes out wide for Hoppy. He's got time. Can he climb? Hoppy doesn't get it. Just couldn't control it in the end.
Well, the alarming thing for me on the Gatorade replay here is how St Helens just didn't read what was happening whatsoever. I mean, this was just about a gift to Sean Hoppy, and it was only luck, really, that stopped another 4-pointer.
Anthony Sullivan was posted out there on the wing. No support from his teammates. Probably a lot more dangerous signs, Huey, earlier for St Helens than there was for Bradford last weekend.
There's no doubt about that. The way that Auckland has started this game is, if you could say, hot on fire, but certainly St Helens coming out with these type of mistakes, they're only going to put pressure on themselves. Also coming up quickly in defence, they're going to change the option for Auckland by putting the ball in behind because they're coming up far too quickly.
To talk about on fire, this is stone cold the way St Helens have started.
Back you go, they right?
All the errors against them. Stephen Clark still laying down the law to the Saints. Betts from out the back. Jones.
I think the Warriors pretty lucky there, Graham. To me, that looked like an obstruction.
Right on the 20. Odin Ryan puts the foot down. And from dummy half, Aru will just give them all a wake-up call. They all had their backs turned. They were all asleep. Quick as you like from dummy half for Eru.
Well, Gatorade replay shows a great run here from Odin Ryan, But have a look at this. He got up, played the ball very, very quickly. Sideru just hit form again. No one was onside. No one could stop him. This is a side that is playing so much faster than their English opposition.
Well, it's still got to get down to the fact that
there's no urgency there.
None. They all had their backs turned on their own line with their backs turned. And Eru showing the way home even from dummy half on our Rebel Sport profile. His form has certainly picked up from the start of the World Club Challenge. Grabbed himself a try last week, grabs one this week. Ridge from a handy position drives another one down the middle. And the start is 12-0. They came to see plenty of tries after last week. And in only 12.5 minutes, they've got a couple already.
Yeah, well, certainly the Warriors just playing at a different speed altogether than the St Helens side. Frank Endicott there, he's got plenty to be happy about with his team. Couldn't wish for a better start.
Pick events. No Chris Joint in this St Helens lineup, so they are under strength. Andy Leatham. Everyone's looking for a big game from Kieran Cunningham. Also the Great Britain hooker. Big hit, and they lose it again. Cunningham played exceptionally well last week, or Monday night I should say, against Cronulla.
Well, he is a good player, one of the best they've got in their lineup. But for them to get out of trouble here, it's going to require teamwork, not one individual player. They've got to work as a team, particularly in defence, control the ball far better than they're doing, and match the Warriors' defensive line.
Odenryan easily from dummy half, taken by Matalia.
But once again, we see him come from his left wing over to the right-hand side, getting himself involved.
Betts right up the middle, feeble defence. They keep it alive again. Inside the 10, one more tackle to try and nail it. In behind the line, sitting up and put dead. Arnold just got there in time. And the Warriors will get some more possession.
Well, Gatorade replay shows here a well-weighted kick, plenty of pressure behind it. Once again, the St Helens side just can't get themselves out of this pressure situation.
Just waiting, try and find a ball.
Well, Apollo Perolini, he knows he could do some damage if he was out there. Look at those missed tackles. 2 for Saints up against, well, 2 for the Warriors up against 7 for the Saints.
Not putting much into the defence at all at the moment, Huey, the Saints.
Well, they're adding to their own downfall here because they're flying up too fast in defence. When the Warriors do break their line, quick play the ball, they haven't recovered. They've got to make sure they hold back, don't panic, and move up in a line.
Logan Swan. Run around for Eru. Try and bring the backs into play. Jones on the inside. Namu. Namu's gone! You only had to blink and you missed him. They have picked up from where they left off last weekend.
Well, Gatorade replay shows 2 of the smartest in the business at the moment for the Warriors. Stacey Jones turning it back inside to Namu, who's just got tremendous acceleration and vision. Another great try.
Magnificent acceleration, great step. And celebrations all round for Namu. And this is how they did it last weekend. Started to score them all under the posts. 12 goals last week and a try. Now he sets this one up for Ridge. And it's an amazing scoreline already. 18-0.
Well, the zip line there, the zilch line. Very disheartening, but just have a look at this. Stacey Jones has the ball out in front of him to start with, drifts across, tucks Gene Namu inside, and Gene with his step, his pace and his skill, he doesn't miss those things. And he is another player playing with tremendous confidence.
Well, that's the difference. Talk about the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season proper, and it is a different Gene Namu.
Well, I think he's been encouraged, and we've got the result out there tonight and in recent weeks. Jones and Namu been amongst the best, along with Sideru.
Finally, a penalty comes up for the Saints. And that was the first dart from dummy half that we've seen from Cunningham. Got a bit of pace about him as well.
Well, they got that penalty because they played the ball quickly, and that's what they need.
It's a case now where they must keep their line too. Not even give a chance of St Helens to climb back. Hunt, I think, claiming that he took a pretty high shot, swinging arm.
Well, I think he did get a high shot.
Matalia standing very wide. And back they go to the midfield. Took it around the neck from Logan Swan.
Well, I think Logan Swan pretty lucky to get away with that.
Julian O'Neill up the middle for some inches. Hammond out for Arnold. And he's forced to go to the midfield as the Warriors just keep a straight line. Last tackle. Can the Saints find something? Goulding trying to take on Hoppy. And they've got a chance in the corner. Saved by Ridge. They tried to give Hoppy some of his own medicine.
Well, the Warriors' defence in recent weeks has been outstanding. We see here on the Gatorade replay, that kick not going exactly really where Bobby Goulding wanted it, but it could have easily ended up in a try. Matthew Ridge went to Newlove to start, and look at the strength of the skinny little bloke. Stopped a certain four-pointer.
Warriors come back with it. And quickly. Extra quick play of the balls. Brady Malem.
That's 3. There it is. And hold, hold.
Logan Swan.
That's 4.
45 out from their own line. Vanganar this time fires himself up. He busted open the Bulls last week.
He's on.
Ridge under a little bit of pressure gets the kick in behind Arnold.
Well, I think that's been the best passage of play so far from the St Helens side. They would have got a bit of confidence with that because they got down quite easily to the Warriors goal line and nearly came up with a four-pointer, so that would have really given them plenty to go on with.
Julian O'Neill, a former Warrior, keen to put up a good showing tonight, Huey.
He certainly would be against his old chums here, but one thing I've got to stress again with St Helens, they can't panic in their defence. They've got to start moving up slowly, look at the line, just as the Warriors were. You see shades of Auckland Warriors in the St Helens lineup, the way that they are panicking and flying out of the line, leaving holes for the likes of Stacey Jones to just carve them up.
Play the balls a lot slower. O'Neill again. Gets it back for Cunningham. And they go inside the 20.
Good acceleration, that Hunt.
Goulding with the kick. Now Newlove is offside. Been told by Clark to stay out of it. Well taken in the end by Hoppy.
Well, I think it was also well read from Sullivan as well, because he just sweated on Hoppy. Made sure that Sean Hoppy couldn't gain any ground.
Gatorade replay. He had nowhere to go.
This is an important passage here for the St Helens side. If they can force an error, I think they can jump straight back into the game, but they've got to make sure the defensive line stands straight. Pretty hard to do when you've got a big bloke like Sean Hoppy, Stephen Kearney crawling all over you.
Jones. Swan trying, Anthony Swan that is, trying to get outside Newlove. Massive difference in the territorial advantage. Ridge tries to hurdle the defence. Jones with the kick. Down for Prescott. fumble there in the end. Clark said it was okay. Looked as though he might have got a hand on that in the end and knocked it on.
Well, maybe that's the little bit of luck that St Helens may need.
That's one. Here it is, Auckland. Come on, fellas, make the effort. That's two.
He
Come on,
checked it
boys.
at
Here it is,
first,
here it is.
just trapped it,
Keep coming.
then played at it, and did he get a touch on that?
I thought he did, actually.
That's
But
right.
anyhow, as I said, that's a little bit of luck that you need just to get back into the game if you are under the hammer.
Goulding
That's four. Line, fellas, line.
trying to pick up the pace somewhat.
That's five. Back.
Sean Long will play it just outside the 30. Bombing away, trying to take on Odin Ryan. Arnold trying to make up the distance. And Ridge back there to bring it up. Bouncing off tackles, fine run. Something that we're used to seeing from Hoppy when they're in that position.
That's two. Keep coming.
Tons of enthusiasm from Ridge, getting back after injury. And again a penalty. Doesn't miss tackles against the Saints.
I mean, they've got to get back a lot quicker than they are now. The Warriors are going to sneak another one just with the speed of the tap. None of them are onside.
Not in position as Joe Vangano takes it up.
He's not going anywhere. Let him up. Let him up. Hold there. Hold. Hold.
Too big at the moment and too pacey for the Saints. Malum just about letting go. And again, just dropping off tackles. And from dummy half, they nearly sneak another one through Eru. Kearney on the inside, easy for Betts. Nobody covering up on the inside. Kearney just dragged in the attack at the defensive line. Virtually put the key in the door for Betts.
Well, this is very, very disappointing for the English game in general, I think. Basic fundamental defensive errors here, as we can see on the Gatorade replay. No one coming across from the inside out. And really, you're going to get this result all night if they keep doing it.
Well, Kearney only had to take one man out of the line, and those on the inside didn't bother to come across. Won't score an easier one, Betts. And Betts' return home maybe put off somewhat to the final in October of the World Pub Challenge if they go all the way. Ridge with another two. Embarrassing scoreline early, 24-0. Well, some changes from the bench from McRae. He needs put some players out there. They're going to put the men down on the ground.
I think what he does need out there is a team that's listening to the referee, getting back on side and not giving up possession so easily. That's what's required.
Well, Derek McVeigh to bring it back. Former Tiger of the Balmain club, trying to make somewhat of an impact.
That was knocked out. There was two in there.
Ball stolen. The Saints to go downfield. You heard the call from Clark. Two men in the tackle, knocked down, played at by Kearney.
Here it is, Auckland.
So often the culprit in that situation. McVeigh again.
That's two. Here it is, fellas.
You want to talk about defence, Huey?
What defence of the Warriors, the way that they are holding their line, but they've got to make sure here with St Helens that they still keep the ball, take the ball to the advantage line for the Warriors, and make sure that Bobby Goulding has to be more involved in this game. He's got to take this line on and create things for the St Helens team.
How about a quick lesson at the break for the Saints defence?
Well, I don't know about the Saints defence. What all they've got to do is make sure they hold their own line. That's the only problem that they've got. They're racing too quickly out of this line.
Goulding tried to change the direction of the kick. They claimed that Betts was offside off a teammate.
You're offside.
And Goulding
You're in front.
convinced Clark.
Hey,
Might have got a
doesn't
call
matter,
from
I got it, Bob, I
upstairs.
got it.
Or a call from a touch judge.
Yep,
Quick
thank
tap
you.
from Goulding. Penalty starting to square up a bit. Sean Long. So a first real chance to pile on a bit of pressure of their own. And you guessed it, another fumble. Endicott. Heat just really hasn't been put to them at all. Had a quick look at the line.
Now this is all too easy for the Warriors at the moment because their opposition isn't anywhere near the standard it should be.
Two missed tackles there in the space of just a couple of meters, as those errors certainly do mount up. Good ball back for Anthony Swan. Swan to the outside to back himself. Saved this time round, though. Fine tackle on the finish from Sullivan. Hoppy. Did he get it down on the chalk? Still short, says Clark. Big numbers out wide, but Clark's got the Saints have been way offside. They still want to get on with it. The Saints are still offside out wide, but it won't matter. Well, got a lot of walkers in the Saints lineup already at 28-0.
Well, I think this was a great try for the Warriors. We can see here on the Gatorade replay, this penalty taken very, very quickly. They're all standing there very, very dirty on this outside defence. You can see the players calling their teammates out. But I've got to question whether this sort of penalty should be allowed to be taken that quick. I've got to say that in Saints defence. I think it was pretty hard for them. And this is the result that came from it. But
well, they were way offside out wide.
They're miles offside.
And you've still got 6 and 7 players out on the other side of the field, hands on knees, marking up against nobody.
Yep. But as I said, Graham, I do think that the referee at some stage has got to give some time to get back in that line of defence.
Pace is just too hot here at Ericsson. 30-0 to the Warriors.
It's like a hot and cold tap at the moment.
Well, another look at that line. They were living in the Warriors' back line. They forgot about marking up on the inside. McVeigh tried to get there. Famous club, St Helens. First season was 1895. You would have seen that, Lowy. Probably also remember their biggest loss was against Warrington. You start thinking about the record sheets already with this 30-0 scoreline. Got beat by Warrington in 1909, 78-6.
And that was before calculators.
McVeigh. Cunningham. Strong run from him.
Very good run from him.
Goulding. Wide, back line standing pretty flat. Natalia out nice and wide. Thought about pushing the ball back. Last tackle. Having no luck in defence, no luck in attack. Ball's pushed back a long way. Prescott will put up the midfield bomb. Most of his teammates offside. They kick ahead again. It's touch. They can grab it if they want. So still couldn't salvage anything out of all of that. Ridge. Swinging arm from McVeigh there that went pretty high on Ridge. Malum. Incredibly, just inside the last 10 minutes, already 30 points up. Odenryan. Nearly got through a half gap. Short side and some numbers. Needed to go to Hoppy, who was unmarked. Well, touch and go. He was just calling to him as he took off, but he had to stay with the fact that he called him to play it.
Well, I think that was a pretty lucky break there from St Helens, because the two previous play the balls, we can see here on the Gatorade replay, this is where he did call play it. But the two previous play the balls, the outside backs of St Helens once again were up offside, and the referee was entitled to penalise them. He allowed play to go on.
Looking to see if they can find their way to the scoreboard. Try and find some points. McVeigh. Tall man. Tries to unload. Luckily it comes up, sits up for Arnold. Straight across midfield. Actually got away from most of his supports. Sean Long. 15 away, searching for some points. Goulding. Hammond. Kick ahead. All too easy for Ridge, not a problem. And easily gets away and nearly gets out past the 20. So it's a nice confident restart for Ridge as well.
Well, he's a class player, Matthew Ridge. The Gatorade replay shows here. Matthew with his eye on the ball, puts his foot down, gets a quick 20 metres, just puts his side back on the attack straight away.
Logan Swan.
Hold, fellas, hold, hold.
Got him again.
Give a 10.
Now somebody's in the bend. He's been warning and warning. Cunningham's out of here. So they're down to 12. And a nightmare. 7.5 minutes or so still before the break.
Well, silly play here. Well, a ridiculous play to give this sort of penalty away. The referee is telling them to hold it. Gatorade replay shows here. A little bit of a high shot there.
Break away on a restart. Just easy against the dozen. They couldn't stop Hoppy when they had 13. Now it's the 12 who couldn't. Quick restart for Hoppy to grab a double before half-time.
Well, Gatorade replay shows this coming all too easy. Another 4-pointer for Sean Hoppy. As I mentioned before, we've got one side on hot, one side on cold. That hot's now turned up to boiling.
Well, 3 had hold of Brady Malem in the tackle. He was still allowed to unload, pushing it back for Hoppy. Amazing the points that might be tabled in this game tonight. Especially when you've got a man like this to keep on looking for the extra 2. Just like that. 36-0.
Well, while the Warriors are taking advantage of some pretty slack defence from St Helens, you've got to compliment the Warriors' own defence, because the times that St Helens have been down, well, there's a man there with plenty on his mind. Well, he's got plenty in his mouth too, by the look of it, Sean McRae, the Saints coach. But, really, I don't think his side can do anything against this Warriors team out there today, because their defence, particularly on their goal line, has been very, very sound, not only tonight but in recent weeks, and it's been a mark of their recent form.
Matalia. Well, you want to talk about big money in the game these days. They might have to start riding into some of the... Oh, talk about a great tackle. You might have to start talking about putting it into contracts. Pay them by the tackle.
That's number 3.
Well, you wouldn't have got anything.
Great hit on our Gatorade replay by Malem.
Here it is, here it is. Come on, Steve.
Saints still searching for their first point of the night.
I think Bobby Goulding is going to have to take that line on a little more than what he's doing.
Which one? On the St Helens play.
Down for Hoppy. Cross to Ridge. And first real good chase of the night from the Saints.
Yeah, Bobby Goulding leading the chase there. Sweating on Matthew Ridge.
Chance to run it here. Odin Ryan might get away. Backs his pace. Arnold just gets him. Back infield. They showed the confidence. And Odin Ryan nearly got away. If it hadn't have been for Arnold, it was a try down the other end.
Well, the Gatorade replay shows the advantage of having true pace on the side. He was away, but great cover defence to pick him up. The Warriors knocking the ball on there, but this man is a genuine flyer.
Hang on, that's Harlan, that's Harlan. What's the end, what's the end? Steady, steady. Yeah, sure.
Certainly the way they're playing at present. The Warriors, the confidence, Stretching it in front of their own post, right on their own line. Brings back a bit of the Brisbane Broncos style and confidence, Huey.
They're certainly playing exceptionally well, but one thing we've got to commend the Warriors on is that they're staying control. Many a team would have been guilty of throwing the ball around, getting out to this type of lead and just throwing the ball willy-nilly, but these guys are controlled. They're keeping the game plan in mind and really fulfilling it right to the letter.
Hammond. McVeigh. Touched by the Warriors. Fell into the arms of Dennis Betts. Odenryan.
Well, the Gatorade replay shows maybe a little bit of a chance there for St Helens, but once again, great defence.
First real mistake at their own end from the Warriors. Goulding with a switch. McVeigh looks for Alan Hunt. And Arnold! I don't know that he got it down. They'll go upstairs to check this one.
Can we have a look at that, Noel? I'm not sure if he had ball control. And can you also check the touching goal line for me?
So the touch judge didn't wave him out, but Clark has asked for both to be checked.
Touching goal
Gatorade
and
replay. McVeigh with a good ball up for Arnold. Great tackle. Well, he's out. Put his arm down. His arm was down before he planted the ball.
Great cover defence there. Real good tackle.
Auckland, Auckland.
Head on again. Just check
Come back.
his right arm.
Just wait.
I think is out and down there before the ball was planted. I think the ball might have even gone close to cutting the chalk as well. Great save from Shane Endicott. Right on time. That arm's down and the ball wasn't.
Well, the ball was on the touchline anyway. I think it hit the chalk.
Well, he's had plenty of looks at it. So, poor old Saints, it's been a tough time out. About 3 minutes out before the break.
So there's going to be no try.
So it's no try. And yes, that's right, it does hurt. For the Saints, 36-0 it stays.
I think that no try probably typified one of the problems that Saints do have at the moment, because they've got no change of angle out wide to try and hold that sliding defence up. They're just shifting the ball just through the hands, and really it's too easy a mark for the Warriors.
Mark Horrow out there from the bench. So much better. Goulding tries to fire them up. Big tackle on Brady Malin. Now he climbs nice and high against Kearney. Trying to put a bit of fire into the game. And he goes looking for another one. Trying to show the forwards how it's done. On the inside. Anthony Swan. Last tackle against him. Bridge trying to keep this in play. Thought Huppy might have been able to get there. Prescott. Well, mentioned those haircuts before. Something's got to look good for the Saints, I guess, at this time.
Well, we've got Prescott there at fullback. He's a pretty handy player, Prescott, but playing behind a team that's getting flogged like they are, he can't really show what he is capable of, but he is a good player.
It was such a better performance. They could have scored a couple more tries against Cronulla. I know the Sharks were missing some players, but this territorial advantage has certainly been too hard to handle. Odenryan. Just bounced Arnold out of there. But he's lost it. So just near half-time, they'll get one more chance.
Pretty well weighted kick here. A lot of chasing going on. Odenryan did well to pick it up to start with, but it was great tackling coming in, plenty of pressure. Just bounced one of them out of the way, but then lost control of the ball, was stripped.
1-on-1, not a problem.
Then why is it a scrum? It should have been Auckland ball.
Total errors. As Hunt plays it just inside the 10. Inside the last 60. Natalia right in front of the post, looking for the quick play of the ball. Cross cross for McVeigh. Nearly late on the try here a couple of moments ago. Gets it back for Arnold. He's still denied, though, just a couple of metres out. Goulding calling for it quickly. That kick will be too long for Sean Long. And back it'll go to the 20.
Well, the Gatorade replay shows one of the problems that the English side seem to be having out here against the Southern Hemisphere sides. Are there opportunities and options on the last tackle and their execution on the last tackle?
Logan Swan taken by Newlove. Sean McRae will have plenty to say to St Helens. Quickly up the tunnel. One of the best teams in England being burnt badly by the Warriors at 36-0 here at Ericsson. Back with more after this. Sean McRae, as we welcome you back, no doubt laying down the law to St Helens, reminding these guys that this is going back to England, and there's a thing called pride.
Yeah, well, they haven't got much more to play for in the second half except pride. They certainly can't win the game, and they are a proud club, the St Helens side, and the old-timers, this must break their heart.
Well, it's got definitely a lot to say about defence, because that was non-existent.
Yeah, but this coach in this room here, Frank Endicott, he'd be very, very buoyant and pleased, because everything his players do turn to gold. And we keep using that word confidence. Confidence has played a big role in the turnaround here of the Warriors, because they're playing with such confidence. Everything they try comes off. And they're playing a disciplined brand of footy.
Can't wait to get back out there. Whereas beyond the Saints' mind about hoping that somebody pushes that full-time siren nice and early.
Well, I think what Saints do have to do is offer some sort of threat to the Warriors' defensive line by changing the angle. But really all they're doing is shifting the ball out. No one's holding the defensive slide up at all. I think Bobby Goulding needs to take the line on a little more than he's doing, and maybe lay off the grubbers in the end goal.
Well, heads are still down. I know that was a major embarrassment. First 40. But the Warriors did it to Bradford. And Bradford are showing everybody the way in the English Premiership.
You have to ask yourself the question, why the difference? What is the difference?
I'm still waiting. Have you worked it out? Goulding takes St Helens back out, as they've got 40 minutes to try and restore plenty of lost prestige. Incredible. The mistakes made right from the start. Goulding, I think, shaking his head as he looks up at the scoreboard, as Ridge brings back the Warriors. Very interesting tale of the tape in the first 40 minutes.
Well, it's an amazing stat line, really. The missed tackle 17 against St Helens. 17-4 for the Warriors. That is just incredible. You have a look also at the line breaks. 8 for the Warriors, not one single one for St Helens. Field position and territory, or the time in possession, well, an advantage for the Warriors as well.
36-0. And a good Friday night crowd on a pretty cool night. Not so cool for St Helens. They're not handling the heat. Turned up by the Warriors. Back it comes for Brady Malin. You talk about those 17 missed tackles against St Helens. In a good game, how many missed tackles would you expect from your side? In 80 minutes?
Well, in the losing side, you'd probably expect in 80 minutes, maybe 11. 11 missed tackles is probably the average. So that just really tells the story.
Horror.
You know, I look to this Warriors side, Graham, and I look for the reasons they have turned things around. I think Frank Endicott is a major reason they've turned it around.
Well, here's a turnaround. Goulding tries to send Sullivan away. Trying to spin it and find something from the restart. Sean Long.
Well, Sean Long had no one to pass the ball to. Once again, they've given it up with an error. Lost ball there. Sean Long's not too happy about it. Gatorade replay shows a good little break here. Might have had Steve Kearney's big hand in there to help the ball out.
He got up complaining.
But I was talking about the turnaround, Graham, and I think a lot of the turnaround is to do with the front row of the Warriors, with Joe Vangana, Brady Malin, and Sidiru. I think they're in outstanding form.
Well, Stephen Clark here is waiting for somebody on the Warriors bench to realise they've got to get a replacement out there.
I don't think they need 13.
Big roar as Vangana gets back out there. So the blood bin for Brady Malin, and it's still a couple of minutes or so now for Kieran Cunningham before he gets back out there to put the St Helens side back to 13. Goulding had to make a lot of tackles from the halfback position. Try and stem the flow. Well, Huey, I guess there'll be some interesting things said at halftime.
Well, certainly in the Auckland Warriors, Frank Endicott was extremely impressed and happy with the performance. The only thing he said basically was to make sure they don't get a start, which we nearly saw them get a good one right there with the drop ball by Stephen Kearney early. But that's basically where he stressed. In St Helens, obviously disappointment, but where they needed to take the game back to Auckland is for Bobby Goulden to start running the ball forward and taking them on and not using just as defence, because that'll just tire him out and that'll get him out of play normally.
A couple of fumbles from the Warriors. Started his second half. A little bit of a help there, I think. Hand in there from Chris Morley, just punched that one out.
I think if St Helens can protect the field position that they gain, errors there, 5-7, you would really think that they'd be higher than that.
Hunt to the outside of Odin, right away from everybody, they get one. Well, he got to the outside. Odin Ryan and Anthony Swan gets them on the board at 36-4.
Well, Gatorade replay shows basic backline play. Line ball probably that, but Hunt just shows his pace. A little bit of an in and away to start with. Odin Ryan didn't quite have it to get him from behind, but really well taken from St Helens and great to see.
Good balance running to the outside of his man and showed a bit of dash, bit of determination, something to get back into this game.
Well, he has got plenty of style about him. We can see on the
well, you'd be forgiven.
There.
Just check on the Rebel Sport profile that it's Alan Hunt, not Dennis Rodman, 27 years of age.
Well, he is a player of style, originally a winger.
All trying to look like something out of the Chicago Bulls. Skipper included, Bobby Goulding.
I might be old-fashioned, but I think it looks silly.
I'm not going to disagree with you. That I'll agree with the old-fashioned bit. Goulding brings this one around nicely. So something at last from the Saints at 36-6. Another look at it. Really did well to get to the outside of some pretty sharp men.
Yeah, I think it was pretty ordinary defence there from the Warriors, though, in the outside backs, but well taken from Hunt, and he's capable of doing that sort of thing. He is a good player. He hasn't been given any opportunities, but he is a good player. Cunningham's
back, so it's a full complement. 13. Logan Swan. Betts. Defence just stood back, really didn't move up. He managed to pick up an easy 10 metres or so. Horror.
defence, Graham, just waiting for these big Warriors forwards to run at them. Not moving up. They're probably frightened from the penalties they've been given away earlier in the game. Around the middle of the ruck, they've got to move up quicker.
Thought Namu might have been tempted to run it on the last there. They had a couple of men over. And the St Helens winger dropping back for the kick. Sullivan. So he keeps the big 10 metres for both sides, and the Warriors get pinched. They just have the penalties. Interesting talking point now that it's Auckland laying on so many points, keeping a big 10 metres too. And 4 and 5 of them caught offside. He was trying to tell them to get back. But the Warriors are only 7 points behind Brisbane in the for and against stakes. So they keep on piling the points on and look for another big win against Warrington. They could end up on the top of the heap in the World Club Challenge.
Well, with this style of play, they deserve to be there.
Ball was forward. Good call from Clark. Newlove had overrun McVeigh.
That was forward.
No real argument from Newlove. Timing was just out a little. Gatorade replay.
The Gatorade replay shows the ball was shunted forward there a little bit. Enterprising play once more from the St Helens side.
He had to push it forward because he had already gone past him. So might have just heard a little bit of that because Clark was mentioning to Goulding he was lucky that he really didn't penalise them. Game slows down as we wait for an injured player.
Hey, back you go. Back you go. Side. Hang on, don't come in, don't come in, don't come in. Side.
Clark still calling to the St Helens backs to get back on side. Hoppy.
Here it is, here it is.
Logan Swan. Young man who started the season, Huey, in the top grade, went back to reserves for a little while, but certainly has found his confidence and his feet.
He's a terrific little player, and as I said before, I think he's the future for the club in the second row, along with Stephen Kearney. And we look to them for the future. But the future, as far as St Helens goes, they must make sure they control this ball when they do have the ball, and make sure they play it wide, take the game to Auckland, push it out wide, and put the little kicks over the top, just vary the game and get away from the orthodox.
Jones gets pushed out the back for Namu. Now for Endicott. Out the back. Everybody stood and looked at it. And another mistake. Chases on. Sullivan tries to win it. So it'll come back.
Ball went forward.
Ball knocked on way back downfield by the Warriors. He played a long advantage. They didn't get it back. So some fumbles, and they're just off their game a little since half-time, Auckland.
Yeah, well, you get the feeling that maybe St Helens have increased the tempo, and the Warriors have just dropped off their game a little. We see here on the Gatorade replay.
That ball was pushed forward by Kearney, who tried to roll it across the field. Just lifting since the break, St Helens. They had to.
I think there was a good example there of a change of angle was required. Try and hold that sliding defence up.
Newlove broke the tackle. Just slipped at the finish, though. Hammond trying to find the runner in Chris Morley. Back for Goulding. Bombing away. They all go up for it. Still Saints ball, and a chance again. Arnold. Kick to the in goal. Well, he was offside, Arnold. Now, Arnold was offside. Should have been penalised. Ball was kicked to the in goal, and Ridge is going to argue that point too. You can see Arnold there. He plays it. I think he thought he had to get it back out the back door, kicked ahead by a man behind him, so he's offside. And played at it.
Well, a lucky break there for the St Helens side. Now they've got to capitalise on it.
Plenty of possession. coming their way. Right on the 20. Starting to threaten. McVeigh, more than a handful, continues to unload. Back for Cunningham. Now for Long. Then out for Lethem. Territorial advantage is starting to shorten up. Sean Long. Still getting away.
He's a pretty nimble player on his feet, this Sean Long.
Right in front of the post for Goulding to take over. For Morley. No real support on his outside. Now it'll come back again for Goulding. And the kick. Straight across the field. For nobody in particular. Newlove puts the foot to it. And a second time. And forced again by the Warriors. And they'll get it back once more.
Well, this was a little bit of luck combined with persistence. Ball didn't quite go on the Gatorade replay where Bobby Goulding did want it to go. A little bit of luck here. A bit of persistence, though, from Paul Newlove. He's a big fella. Hacking away there and really has forced a position where they're going to be able to take advantage once more of more possession.
Stay behind. Stay behind. Come on, Sid.
Restart from Oden. Ryan doesn't travel too far. Morley.
That's one.
Big defense called for the Warriors. And just lost it. No, he didn't. Gets a call from the touch judge. So they'll get this restart just outside the 20. The penalty's all square now. Goulding for Cunningham. Sloppy pass out. Prescott in the line. So much better from St Helens. McVeigh. Lethem. Right from the start of the game, they were running one out. All of a sudden, now the supporters there, getting to assist each other. Good defence on the inside from Kearney. 12 metres away, St Helens. Looking for runners on the inside. Newler. Backhand lost. Couldn't be handled by Cunningham. So good defence from the Warriors. Jones. Stacey Jones to fire up this side, who have seemingly knocked off since the break. O'Brien! Will he get it down? Yes! Great finish from Oden, Ryan. But we've had to wait for the spark in the second half. Stacey Jones stuck his hand up and said, I'll do it.
Well, great play from the Warriors defence to start with. They forced the error to start with. Then Stacey Jones, he's got a Ferrari engine and he decided to open it up. He just shows the speed he has got. But this is the latest Ferrari model as Lee Oden new into the car sales, and he just puts his foot down. Plenty are going to want to buy him.
Sullivan made up some territory to match it with Oden Ryan. Great strength in the finish to break all those tackles. 3 and 4 men to get it down. Oden Ryan has certainly found his way to the try line since getting in to the top grade. Make it 7 out of 8. Ridge enjoying the fruits that Namu did last week. 42-6. All of a sudden, Huey, they've woken up since the break.
Well, this all come from a fumble from St Helens. They look well when they had control of the ball. One fumble, and this thing turns around. Stacey Jones makes that clean break. And doesn't Sullivan, hasn't he got a pair of heels? But this is well done by Oden Ryan, changing the ball, swapping hands to make sure that wasn't shut down. Well finished.
Crowd enjoying in the past fortnight, especially here at Ericsson, some long-distance tries.
Yeah, well, it just shows the advantage of having true pace, which is what they've got. They've got plenty of true pace in the halfback 5-8 role, and now they've also got it out in the flanks, particularly with Oden Ryan. He is a flyer.
Cunningham. taken by Betts. Push the pass back for Hunt.
That's his third.
I mean, it is easy to be critical of the St Helens side, but I think the Warriors are in a real hot patch at the moment. They're really playing well. Good example here. Their defence has once again forced the error, giving them another opportunity.
Ridge, no obstruction. Tries to kick his way clear. Bangana.
That's three. Be coming, Derek. Here it is. Here it is. That's four. Here it is. Here it is.
Just outside the 20 for Horo. Namu, Jones. Ridge into the line, back on the inside. Another try was in the offering. Paul Anderson in 25 from the bench. Those errors getting up to 11 for St Helens. Warriors have made a few since half-time. Sullivan. Julian O'Neill. Strong run from him out towards the 50. Goulding. Standing very wide, just living 2 and 3 out, Derek McVeigh. Kicking in behind Hoppy. Looks as though it thought it might have been a bit strong just inside the chalk. So, a nice kick from Sean Long. Gatorade replay. And continue to find the sideline to walk it for a scrum.
Well, it was well weighted, but it's very, very important how St Helens use this field position, back it up with good defence.
Crab on their feet here. For Mark Ellis getting into the game.
Let's go.
So Ellis will be keen to get in the queue, try and find his way to the try line. Also Gutenberg out there for a touch. Trying to slow the man down. St Helens trying to slow down those quick play the balls from the first 40. Horror head down, then look for some support. Namu back for Kearney, just handing it off. 6 more tackles. Vangana just pushes Newlove out of the way a second time. Absolute contempt. Jones for Betts. Tough passage of play for the Saints, back to back. Sets a 6 for the Warriors. Kearney. Betts. Players being allowed to stand for a long time to look for support. Namu. Inside the 20 they go. Kearney. Thought about taking one round the back for Betts. Endicott. Ridge. Back and grabbed and pushed back for Eru. Amazing stuff. They stood and just watched the juggling act from Odin, Ryan. Mesmerised by that, they forgot about Eru.
Well, Gatorade replay shows here Matthew Ridge came into the line with a burst. Juggling act, as you said, from Lee Odin, Ryan. Ball popped back. Sid Eru grabbed it. Another 4-pointer from Confidence.
You've got to laugh about Sid Eru tonight. He scored 2 tries tonight. And in both tries, he has probably run at least 2 metres to score them. You could have handled that, Huey.
Oh, no doubt whatsoever. This is probably a little bit unlucky towards St Helens there. In most occasions, that ball had gone to ground. Obviously, it would have been a knock-on, but well done by the Warriors. Well done, Sid Eru. 2 metres, who cares?
I think one of the things that came up in that try to me was the injection of Matthew Ridge into the back line. He's not super fast, Matthew Ridge, but he makes up for that by standing in the right position and using his angles right.
Ridge, round it comes. And another two. Great goal. The Warriors just short of the half century at 48-6. Been entertained, especially here at Ericsson the last fortnight, with some brilliant stuff from the Warriors. Kearney with a spell on the bench. Brand new 3-year contract.
Well, that's great news for the club, I think. Securing his signature. He is such a fine player, and I think the backbone of the forward pack.
Morley playing it back. Bit of a mess in the play of the ball. McVeigh strongly up the middle. Now the penalty against Auckland inside the 10. Midway through this second 40. And Goulding gives them a chance just outside the 20. Penalties just to the Saints now. Down 3-0 early in the game in the penalty count. Andy Leatham. Newlove. Right on the 10 metres. Sean Long. Anderson. Strong defence. Horo and Wanganara. Right in front of the posts. McVeigh will try it from dummy half. Too much defence. Cunningham. Thinks better of it. Goes to Goulding. Kick was easily read by Betts, who's just upset. Has support, just didn't look out. He had Endicott trying to get there now. Penalty for being, well, for the St Helens players holding him down.
Well, Gatorade replay shows Bobby Goulding, I believe, taking the wrong option there. He had a player in the gap outside him, but he chose to kick and was well fielded from Dennis Betts. And really, this is where they gave the penalty away. Someone coming in over the top. Pretty ordinary play from St Helens.
Warriors keen now to crack the 50 for the second time in a row. Stacey Jones. Odenryan allowed to easily get out of dummy half and get away for another one. Rather big night out for the Warriors. Rather big night out for Lee Odenryan.
Gatorade replay shows just power, strength, and confidence in taking that on, and pretty ordinary defence from St Helens. He's having a good few games, this guy, since he's been back in the fold.
Well, they just sticking arms out, weren't they?
I mean, he is playing as good as any winger in the game at the moment, Lee Odenryan.
Certainly can scoot.
Well, he's in the right place at the right time all the time.
So Odenryan on our Rebel Sport profile has helped his side, the Warriors, to a situation where they now lead Brisbane in Pool A of the World Club Challenge by 3 points. And that certainly tells a story tonight at Ericsson.
Plenty of flash haircuts, but no flash play.
And Ridge gets another chance. Out it goes to 54-6. Certainly enjoying getting into the top grade. Huey?
There's no question at all about that. This young kid, he's taken everything that has come to him so far since he's been returned back into first grade, and I think that has settled himself down, and it probably settled himself down here at the club for another couple of seasons. There was talk of maybe him not progressing through this year, but I think he's probably stamped himself for another couple.
Maybe then some.
Graham, I've seen enough over the last few weeks to suggest to you that if the Warriors get through to the final, they will win it. I believe that they'll win this. They're just showing the form, they're showing the confidence.
Keep coming.
There's not been a lot of luck in anything they've been doing. It's just come from straight good play.
Why don't you get off the fence?
I can tell you who won't be there, and that's your dogs, the poodles. They won't be there.
Nice of you to bring it up. I think we're going to get a real good angle on the whole thing in a couple of weeks when we get back to the Premiership proper. Telstra Cup. They'll take on Canterbury and Belmore, who have to keep on winning for their shot at the finals of the Premiership, so that'll probably be our best gauge.
Yeah, but I think what you've got to remember, we're not playing in the Telstra Cup at the moment, we're playing in the Visa Cup, and that's all the Warriors have to win at the moment, and they're on track to win it. Don't worry about that.
$1 million payday. Makes you feel like putting the boots on again, Huey.
Oh, I wish I could. The payday would be pretty good, but you've got to liken this to the club, to Challenge Cup in England, where they do, a lot of clubs do make it to that, but it's certainly out of the Premiership race, but they take the most of their opportunities when they come into these knockout situations.
And that's why I reckon this competition is so good. The sides, as Huey said, that haven't been performing well throughout the year, get a new lease of life, as the Warriors have.
And I think Frank summed that up early in his part as a takeover as coach here, that they're forgetting about the Telstra Cup and they're going to really concentrate on this.
Has a little bit of an incentive, certain ring to it, doesn't it? $1 million. Back it comes for Goulding. Sean Long. Morley. 36-0 at half-time. Was the scoreline. So it sits up second time for Ridge. This will do him the world of good, spending full 80 minutes out there.
Well, Graham, you know, watching Matthew Ridge against Cronulla a few weeks ago, I thought it was one of his best games I've ever seen him play for leadership, with his composure, and I think he's showing it again out there now. Like, he got into a little bit of habit of being a little bit angry and arguing with anyone that was standing in front of him. And I've just watched him tonight. He's checked himself a couple of times. I think he's playing a real good captain's role at the moment. It's going to be important in this Visa Cup.
Still screaming at his players to get into the defensive line, plugging up some of the gaps, shifting players across. Pickerman's pushing it out the back door. O'Neill, Long. Anderson thought about it, tries to go alone.
So we're going to have a Warriors sticker inside the front of your program.
Sean Long. He pushes it back. Right on the 10 metres. Goulding. Pickermans. McVeigh has a man on the inside, goes back to Pickermans. Sullivan. But still they get there in numbers. Terrific enthusiasm from the Warriors, even with such a scoreline. Goulding to the in goal, and just put dead by Horrow. So Mark Horrow read it to drop back in there.
Yeah, well, Mark Horrow, not the quickest of forwards, but he's got a good quick mind on him, and he knew what was happening here. He covered up, got that arm out, just managed to pop it over the dead ball line.
Third time in this second half that they've been forced to restart with a dropout. Plenty of the defence for the Warriors, plenty of possession for the Saints, but they haven't been able to do much with it. Ridge. 53 metres on the fly. Down for Andy Haig.
Got him one with me, Auckland. Have a look. Back your cup. That's good. That's two.
And still, they can't find their way through. Cunningham. O'Neill. Goulding. Runaround was long, going to New Love. He can't unload. Andy Haig from dummy half. That's too easy just to pick him off like that. Hanare's out there for the Warriors. Goulding back on a short side. McVeigh pushes it for New Love. They keep it alive. Pickervan's kicks, but it's way too strong. Shows the frustration in not being able to get in behind the line.
No, when you are being picked off running the ball, you do have to come up with the kick, but I think their kicks have been pretty ordinary. But have a look at this guy, he's having a blinder.
And Ellis gets a chance to motor. Here comes Sullivan, but Ellis looks as though he thought he was going to get there, just inches away. Endicott struggles back to his feet. Odenryan. Odenryan to plant right in front of the posts. Eru back for Namu. He hears the call. Guttenbeil pushes it. Jones will get it. Had a hand in really starting the motor of the Warriors in the second half. Now he grabs one himself. 58-6.
I mean, how can you describe the Warriors' performance in the last few weeks? They're just carrying it on. The Gatorade replay shows here another player with good pace. But have a look at Sullivan pick him up on the Gatorade replay. I mean, that's tremendous pace shown there because Mark Ellis is no slouch. But this bloke here, another one with a Ferrari motor in him. If anyone deserves a try, he does. He's a good little kid, a good little player, possibly New Zealand's best player at the moment.
I'll tell him that.
Great hands. Heard a call and quickly spun around. Terrific ball out from Namu. And good quick hands from Guttenbeil. And McVeigh was not going to match it with little Stacey Jones.
Well, I said possibly, but I'll clarify that. He is the best player in New Zealand at the moment.
Ridge. Huge night out for him as well. And he's come back 60 points to 6. Well, as much as they've enjoyed it, a lot of stunned people around these days with a scoreline back-to-back passing the 60s.
Well, I think it's great for the game because the manner in which the Warriors have been chalking up these wins, I think, has been plenty of style, plenty of class and entertainment.
64-14 last week against Bradford. Just reminding everybody it's no fluke, Huey.
Someone wake me up. If someone pinch me, I can't believe that we're in the same stadium with the same team playing in the Warriors. And the performance that we've seen turn around in the last 2 months is just unbelievable. You can see the feeling within the place, the smile on the faces of the people in the stands, and also the smile of the faces more importantly.
Well, Huey, either a semi-final or a final here at Ericsson against the Brisbane Broncos. Be quite some game at the moment.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get a ticket for that game. I'm sure you wouldn't be able to. In the confidence, and I'd like to see that game because I think the Warriors probably had it tough, and I think they may see it as a vengeance game, if I can say that, for the Queensland loss. I thought that still hums on a lot of the players.
Goulding still looking for something for the Saints. New Love spinning in the tackle, but he cannot get away from Namu. Sean Long. Hammond just passed it too hard. Hanare. Got some terrific bullets. Again, that ball was too hard from Carl Hammond. He's got a good bench to go to. Nice, even, balanced bench. Frank Endicott.
Mark. Well, I think one of the most important things in the club at the moment is really there's only one player injured, and that's Te Party. Been pretty blessed with injuries, the Warriors, in recent weeks, so I mean, you just need that little edge like that going into these important games.
It's going to be important in the run-up to the World Club Challenge finals because there's no Glenn Lazarus for the rest of the year for the Brisbane Broncos. Betts sat that one up for Swan. They stay on a short blindside. Kearney, plenty of strength. Back for Ellis. Ellis was powers through. So Mark Ellis grabs one.
Gatorade replay shows Steve Kearney puts that big left hand out, has the right arm free, looks for Mark Ellis. Mark finishes it off.
Missed tackle count is certainly getting there for the Saints in a big way. Ellis in that short space just broke through 2 tackles.
Well, just once again, I think that this kid here, Steve Kearney, one of the best in the business at the moment. He's got a strong left-handed fend. He keeps that right hand free. And Mark Ellis, I think he's had a good year for the Warriors. Played in a number of positions. I'm not sure where he's best at. Maybe I'd like to see him closer to the ball, closer to the action. But he can do anything. I think he's been a great asset.
Great study here of Ridge. This one will not come around enough for him. 64-6. Bobby Goulding. Sure, a lot of these St Helens players really can't believe this nightmare.
No, they can't. I mean, they'll wake up tomorrow and think, what happened? We've had the cleaners put straight through them. And I'm actually a fan of the British game, and it breaks my heart, to tell the truth, to see this happen to these great sides. But I'm so pleased for the Warriors because they were under a lot of pressure earlier in the year. They've been through a few turmoils, but they've handled it well. They've handled it with dignity. That's the story of the night for Saints. Hasn't made a lot of mistakes, Bobby Goulding. He's come up with a big one there.
That's how they started the game. And the finish of this nightmare is not going to be any better. Rugby league gods.
Well, don't be surprised.
I'm not smiling. He's trying to force a right one out.
Don't be surprised if you see a score from the scrum.
Oh, let him go, let him go. Let him go.
Waited out for Ridge to join in. Getting away from a lot of tackles. Cunningham's had to get out of the scrum and to rush across and grab him. Jones showed it inside, stayed outside for Guttenbeil. 5 meters away. Chance to get into the 70s. Eru for Betts, who was just about to reach out. Deep to the back line. Namu kicking. Ellis. Bounce of the ball, all important, and just gets away from Ellis. The Warriors will get it back. Great thinking from Namu.
Well, Gatorade replay shows great thinking from Gene Namu. Nothing on there at all. So he put the boot to it and really nearly resulted in a try. Mark Ellis on the spot, but Sullivan in there first.
Namu's got terrific vision. He knew that that line was up out wide. Couldn't get it out there, so missed tackle count has got out to 23 against St Helens. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Still time here to get to the 70s. Namu to get away and then improve the situation for Ridge. So the fans here back on their feet again. They're even cheering in overtime. 68-6.
Well, I think Gene Namu put this try on in the Gatorade replay for Owen McManus having his 80th birthday this weekend. I know who stalwart, a great rugby league man, and he would have been smiling at this. This was a great try from Gene Namu, who was under pressure at the start of the year, but he's responded with sensational form.
Namu showed his pace with a brilliant try in the first 40. Great skill and balance again. Terrific second half of the season for Namu.
Well, Graham, I've got to tell you, I've coached a lot of young players, and Gene Namu, when he was young, or younger, is the best young player I have ever coached. when he was at Manly. He was sensational, and he's carrying on with it.
And you're not suggesting he's even old yet. Ridge.
23 years old.
70 points to 6. Biggest scoreline. History books get rewritten in the space of a week by the Warriors after the 64-14. Now this one, and they might get a shot at one more.
Great pass also from Stacey Jones to Gene Namu. Gene running the right angle. They're really a potent force, that halfback 5'8" combination.
They've gone looking for the short kick-off. They've gone looking for possession. Did it come off St Helens? So the Warriors will finish with it, Huey.
Thank you.
Great entertainment and great thinking from the Warriors to keep on posting points.
Well, that's what you need to do. You need to keep the opposition guessing. Auckland did that. There was no point in St Helens arguing over that. What they've done all night is to try and stay up offside to shut down this Auckland team. They haven't succeeded in that. Unfortunately for the English game, it even looks worse.
Back on the inside.
Graham, you say great thinking to do that. I've never coached a team that's won by this amount of points. I wouldn't know what you're supposed to do at this stage of the game.
Well, they've got about 30 seconds to find another one. Ridge into the line. Still going and gets it away. They've got a chance here with some numbers wide. Jones pushes it out the back. Brady Malum, he tries to keep it alive. Odin Ryan over the top. Kearney out for Odin Ryan. Back on the inside. They needed somebody there. Now it's the Saints. And they've put a foot on the line. But I don't think the scrum will have time to pack. Bobby Goulding and company say, thank heavens, it's over. Right on the chalk for Sean Long on the Gatorade replay. Absolutely incredible performance yet again from the Warriors. Pride well and truly dented again for the English teams. But the World Club Challenge will go a long way, as ironic as it seems, in helping their game over there. 70 points to 6, and the fans here have been lapping it up. 70 points to 6. Back with more after this. Another amazing night here at Ericsson Stadium. 70 points to 6, a new record for the Warriors.
It's a great record for the Warriors, absolutely fantastic. Look at the line breaks. 13 for the Auckland Warriors, 2 for St Helens. Really, that's the big difference in the side, in my opinion, quite apart from the missed tackles. 26 to St Helens. I mean, that is unbelievable. You hardly ever see that.
Absolutely astonishing. 12 tries to 1 to entertain. Pretty good crowd here at Ericsson. Let's take your sideline with Huey McGann.
Yeah, very pleased, Gene Namu. Gene, I have to ask, what is it that has turned this Warriors team around?
It's just a whole lot of things. We're just playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. And the result tonight was just fantastic. We just can't believe, you know.
Nothing in particular, defence or maybe attack or confidence come back into the team? There must be something in particular?
No, I think it's just the confidence that's in everybody. I think we're throwing the ball around a lot more. Everybody's backing each other up. When a guy makes a break, there's 5 or 6 guys there, and it's just awesome.
Certainly happiness around the place. You can see it in the faces of the spectators here. Also on the team, there's a good feeling within the camp.
Oh, it's great to see a big crowd here tonight, and they got their money's worth, that's for sure.
Scoring a couple of tries certainly helps with confidence as well, Gene.
Yeah, well, haven't scored a lot of tries this year. It was good to get those tonight.
Where do you go from here? There's one game now against Warrington next week. It's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to be hard down in Christchurch, but we'll just celebrate this one.
All right, thanks a lot, Gene. Once again, congratulations.
Can I just say hello to the Hancocks over in Australia and to all the Namus.
Taking it, Bobby. You must be extremely disappointed. Sean McRae, what would he have said at half time to the boys? Because you started the second half very well.
Yeah, he just tried to install a little bit of character. And just go out there. We couldn't win the game, but about this World Cup Challenge, if we're in the top 4, then we're through to the quarter-finals, and anything can happen in playoff football.
Anything in particular that fell over for the St Helens team tonight?
Well, we thought we'd turn the corner against the Cronulla Sharks on Monday, but we're just embarrassed and very disappointed about this evening.
I'm sorry, Bobby. I won't let you stress out any further. Good luck for the rest of the campaign next week, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.